Hello everyone, I'm back with another interesting topic, and in this video we will talk about what is long polling and how we can perform long polling with Salesforce using a Python client. So long polling comes under streaming API. So let's start. So this video is divided into two things. So firstly I have the theory part where I'll explain you what is polling, what is long polling, what is streaming API. Then at the end we have the demo. You can straight away skip to the demo or watch the full video. I would prefer watching the theory as well, because it will help you in understanding the concepts. So let's start. What is polling? Polling is a technique used to repeatedly check the status of a resource or the availability of data at regular intervals. In software engineering, it's often used when you need to wait for an event or condition to occur without blocking the execution of other tasks. So let's say that you run a job, and job is async in nature. So now you want to check the status of the job. So what you will do is you will perform polling. That is, after every specific intervals, you will check the status of the job. Let's say every 2 seconds you check the status whether the job is completed or not. So this is called as polling. Now, what is streaming API? So streaming API, I have created a playlist on streaming API. You can watch that to fully understand it. I'm just going to give an overview. So streaming API enables streaming of events using push technology and provides a subscription mechanism for receiving events in near real time. So what is push technology? Push technology is nothing but it is similar to publisher subscriber model, where the client publishes an event and the subscriber listens to that event through event bus. So the streaming API subscription mechanism supports multiple type of events, including push topic generic events, that is the first generation events, and platform events and CDCs, that is change data capture. Now, streaming API uses the Bayeux protocol and Cometd for long polling. What is Cometd? Cometd is basically the implementation of Bayeux protocol. So if you want to implement the Bayeux protocol, that is the publisher subscriber model, Cometd is nothing but the implementation of that. So what is long polling? Long polling or Comet programming allows emulation of information push from server to a client. So firstly, before we discuss long polling, let's discuss what is short polling. Let's take an example of checking the status of a job. So after every 2 seconds, you make a call to check whether the status of the job changed. So that is normal poll. That is every 2 seconds you do it, and then the connection does not remain open, and after every 2 seconds you make a call and reconnect to the client. But in long polling, the client connects and requests information from the server. However, instead of sending an empty response if the information is not available, the server holds the request and wait until an information is available. So instead of sending the blank response, the server will hold until a specific timeout period, and then it will send a response back. The server then sends a complete response to the client. The client then immediately re-requests information if there is any update. So basically streaming API is to check continuously on specific thing, right? So the client continuously maintains a connection to the server. So it's always waiting to receive a response. In case of server timeouts, the client connects again and starts over. Short polling is not optimized approach. So that is why we go forward to long polling. So we also have techniques such as WebSockets. So WebSockets is something that is not based on HTTP. So that is a different thing we will discuss in another video. So which Cometd methods that does Salesforce streaming API supports? So it supports connect, disconnect, handshake, subscribe, and unsubscribe. Subscribe is to subscribe a event. Handshake is like how it establish connections from the connection to the server. So and other methods. So the important methods are connect, handshake, and subscribe. So now let's discuss the workflow of long polling. So as I told you, the client app first makes a handshake to the Salesforce. So client app is the front end app, let's say, and the Salesforce is the backend. So the client app makes a connection, the handshake request, and the handshake is successful. Then the client app makes a subscribe call. So and sends a subscribe call to Salesforce, and after Salesforce checks the client ID and or other things, and then Salesforce returns a successful response back. The third step is long polling. In long polling, the client app makes a connect request. So you see this method connect. So the client app makes a request and gets that connect request and waits for a timeout period. And after it waits for the timeout period, so the if we have the response back, it's good. Otherwise, the client app resends the connect request, and then Salesforce waits for the specific timeout period, and this process goes on. So you can see that the connection here is never broken, because we are not making the handshake request again and again. We are only sending the connect request again. After that is also after a specific timeout. So this is called as long polling. Now let's discuss the differences between streaming API and PubSub API. So PubSub API is the newer API that you can use to publish and subscribe to platform events and change data capture events. So based on gRPC API, PubSub API is based on gRPC API and HTTP2. PubSub API efficiently publishes, delivers binary event messages and supports multiple programming languages. Before PubSub API was introduced, the only way to subscribe to events in an external client was using streaming API. A major difference between streaming API and PubSub API is that streaming API is based on HTTP 1.1 and PubSub API is based on HTTP 2 protocol. So within HTTP also we have different protocols, and streaming API is based on HTTP 1.1 while PubSub is based on HTTP 2. So here is a table showing the difference between these two APIs. So firstly, the event encoding streaming API is JSON, PubSub API is binary. Protocol is Cometd for streaming API, while it's gRPC for PubSub API. Streaming API is push based model, while PubSub API is pull based model, and you can read it. You can read other differences as well. So now to the demo. So let's see a demo of long polling with Python client. In my VS Code, and you can see that I have imported, this is a so I'm in my VS Code, and this is the Python file longpolling.py, and I am going to use the Python client to connect with Salesforce and perform long polling. So I have imported these modules, request, time, and JSON. So this is the Cometd URL, and it is your my domain /Cometd/version. So I'm using the 61.0 version. This is the channel I will subscribe to. This is the platform event that I created, Bitcoin price. I'll show you as well. This is the platform event, Bitcoin price I created. It has one custom field, that is price. Now these are the methods. So we will discuss this one by one, and this is the main method. So we at the end, when I'll run this program, the main method is getting called. So this main method, what it does is it makes a auth call, authorization call to our Salesforce. So for that we uses the client credential flow. So if you want to know more about the client credential flow, I've already created the video. You can just search YouTube for Samarth Ahuja client credentials. You'll get that video. It returns the access token basically. So for that we got for now we got our headers. Now we are making a post request. We are giving the Cometd URL. The Cometd URL is just the my domain name /Cometd/version. In the data, we are making the the data is basically the data for this REST request. So this is, since we are making a handshake call, so let's see what body we have to give. So we have to give this channel name. The channel name is /meta/handshake. We have to give version, and we have to give supported connection types. Within it, we'll give long polling, since we are going to perform long polling. And this return json.dumps is basically we're converting it to a JSON string. So this is how we are making a handshake request. Now once we make the handshake request, we'll get the client ID from this response. So this client ID we'll have to make in our, we'll have to add that client ID in our subscribe call. So let's see what is the subscribe message. Within the subscribe message, we are sending channel /meta/subscribe. So we are sending the subscription channel name, that is /event/Bitcoin, and then we are passing in the client ID. Cool. And then finally So then we are sending the post request for the subscribe request. Then we have a while loop. Within the while loop, we are making the connect request. So you can see the connect message. This is the request body. I'll show you. The connect request body is slash meta slash connect. We have to give the connection type and we have to give the client ID. So these methods I showed you, like streaming API supports the following Cometd methods: handshake, subscribe, and connect. In the flow as well, if I go back to the PPT, I'll show you. So first we have to make the handshake request, then we have to make a subscribe request, and then we have to make a connect request. So this is what I'm doing. Then it's like we will wait for any message, any platform event to receive. So then let's say we don't get any message, then we will make we will do a time we will do a sleep time dot sleep. We will do a 1 second wait here, and then we will again make a connect request. So, and this is like a for loop so that the connection never breaks. So let me run this and let me show you. So I've run my code. So you can see that firstly it's making a handshake request, and in the handshake request it sent me the client ID. Then in the subscribe request I pass that client ID, and then I get this response that is successful equal to true to this subscription. Then it is showing me that I am inside loop. So I am inside this loop, the while loop, and then I'm making the connect request. So this is the connect request, and then I get a response that the connect request is successful. Now the flow goes back at the top, and I can see the inside loop is printed. Now when we make the connect request again, you can see that it waits. It does not rerun the loop because the request is getting waited at the Salesforce side. So the timeout is this much seconds, and let's say that if we don't receive an event after this much seconds, again the connect request will be made and the connection will be left open instead of getting closed. Now what I'll do is I'll publish a platform event, and let's see if that is getting captured in my Python client. Click on execute and let's see if it works. Boom, and let's see if we got the response. Awesome. So we got this response that the price that we got an event and we got the created date, and let's see if we got the price. We got the price as 100. Awesome. Let me resend it. Let me resend it with a different price. Let me do it 189, and let me click on execute, and boom. So we got the platform event with 189 client, and the connection is always open. You can see that the connection did not get closed. So this is how we do long polling in Salesforce. So hope you learned something new in this video, and do subscribe to my channel for more such videos in the future. Thanks everyone for watching.